We have a golden opportunity to seize something good from this crisis. Its unprecedented shockwaves may well make people more receptive to big visions of change.
King Charles has spent decades preparing for the crown, but now he's facing something no preparation could fully control: time. Since the shocking health announcement on February 5th, 2024, everything inside the royal household has shifted. The king suddenly found himself confronting serious medical challenges that made one thing clear: he needed to think about the future of the monarchy. And while many assumed Prince William would naturally step into focus, something else quietly began to unfold. Princess Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge, started showing up in ways the public hadn't seen before, not just as William's wife, but as a steady hand for the monarchy. Since the king's diagnosis, Catherine's role has grown dramatically. With Charles stepping back during treatment and even as he entered remission, the royal machine kept moving, and it was Catherine who kept it on course. From charity events and public appearances to private moments with the king himself, she's been steadily earning trust. And now, with Charles making his final decisions on what the future looks like, it's Catherine who stands beside that vision.
I was quite nervous about meeting William's father, but no, he's very, very welcoming and very friendly. So yeah, it couldn't have gone easier really for me.
On February 5th, 2024, Buckingham Palace made a rare and serious announcement. King Charles had been diagnosed with cancer. The specific details of the illness were kept private, but the message was clear. The monarch, who had only recently taken the throne after the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, was now facing a major health challenge.
We've received breaking news from Buckingham Palace, which has announced that the king has been diagnosed with cancer.
But the news was a heavy blow, not just to the royal family, but to the entire nation. Charles had long been seen as someone deeply committed to preserving and modernizing the monarchy, and his schedule had remained busy even as he settled into the role of king. But the diagnosis changed everything. As he began treatment, the tone inside the palace shifted. Senior aides, advisors, and family members started having difficult conversations, ones that most expected to happen years down the line. The king's health became a quiet but urgent matter, and the question that hung in the air was simple: what comes next? Even after Charles achieved full remission, his health scare had already accelerated the timeline for planning the future. Royal experts noted a growing urgency in the king's moves, with talk of transitioning more responsibilities to Prince William. But what caught many off guard was not just William's increasing involvement, but Catherine's. Amid Charles's treatment, one moment stood out: a private lunch between the king and Princess Catherine. While the palace didn't release full details of their conversation, insiders say it was a meaningful and strategic meeting. Catherine had already been stepping up in public, but this meeting made it clear her role was evolving behind the scenes too. It wasn't just about filling in during public appearances. Charles was considering deeper changes, ones that involved preparing both William and Catherine for a much more central leadership role. There were even quiet whispers about whether Charles was contemplating early abdication or perhaps a phased transition of power, where Catherine and William would take on more visible royal duties while Charles remained monarch in title. Whatever was said at that lunch, the result was clear. Catherine began appearing more and more in key royal engagements, and not just the soft, ceremonial ones, but meetings and events that carried real weight. Charles seemed to trust her judgment, her presence, and most importantly, her ability to carry the monarchy's image forward.
It is an opportunity we have never had before and may never have again. So we must use all the levers we have at our disposal, knowing that each and every one of us has a vital role to play.
As the king limited his public duties to focus on recovery, Catherine's calendar quietly filled up. She wasn't just attending ribbon cuttings or photo ops, she was meeting with world leaders, supporting national causes, and representing the royal family with a calm, confident presence. Her reputation for being poised and graceful was already well established, but during this period, people began to see another side of her, one rooted in resilience and quiet leadership. Whether it was her calm demeanor at high-profile events or her ability to connect with everyday people on visits to hospitals, schools, and community centers, Catherine didn't just show up, she made an impact. And then came something deeply symbolic, Catherine's rose, a new rose variety bred by Harkness Roses and named in her honor by the Royal Horticultural Society. The bloom is a soft coral pink with a rich perfume carrying hints of Turkish delight. A flower meant to celebrate the role that nature plays in well-being, something Catherine has long supported through her charity work. This wasn't just a floral tribute, it was a public sign of how Catherine was being seen as someone who nurtures, uplifts, and represents the best of what the modern monarchy can be. Her growing legacy was no longer tied just to her title or her marriage. It was now built on consistent service, quiet strength, and a deep connection with the public. But Catherine isn't the only royal with a bloom in her honor, because even in the garden, the monarchy tells its story.
I knew that William had asked my father, but I didn't know if my mother knew, so I came back from Scotland and my mother made it didn't make it clear to me whether she knew or not. So both of us were there sort of looking at each other and feeling quite awkward about it, but it was amazing to tell her, and obviously she was very happy for us.
Loyalty and flowers have always gone hand in hand. In Britain, naming flowers after members of the royal family isn't just a gesture, it's a tradition that celebrates legacy, personality, and history. And over the years, each of Catherine's children has been honored in this quiet, symbolic way. Prince George, the eldest of the three, had the Georgie boy daffodil, named after him. It's not just a bright and cheerful flower, it was specifically chosen for the sturdy nature it shares with young George. As a future king, that symbolic strength carries weight. He's already shown signs of being thoughtful and poised in public, and the flower represents the resilience and responsibility that comes with being first in line to the throne after his father. Princess Charlotte was honored in 2015 with her own floral tribute, the Princess Charlotte chrysanthemum. Known for its delicate appearance and soft coloring, the bloom reflects Charlotte's charm and growing presence as a young royal. At events, she carries herself with confidence, often waving or interacting with crowds in a way that captures attention. The flower, elegant and graceful, fits her perfectly. And then there's Prince Louis, the youngest of the three, who received his own violet flower in 2018. It's a vibrant, lively bloom, much like the prince himself. Whether it's making faces during official parades or playfully trying to get his father's attention on the balcony at Buckingham Palace, Louis brings energy and lightness to the family. His flower is a symbol of youth and joy. These flowers aren't just pretty, they're a living reminder of the monarchy's next generation. As Catherine's own rose blooms in public gardens, her children's flowers sit right alongside it, weaving a story of growth, hope, and continuity.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful.
In March 2024, Princess Catherine made a deeply personal announcement. She had been diagnosed with cancer. The news came as a shock to the public. Up until that point, she had been fulfilling royal duties, supporting her family, and appearing strong as ever. But behind the scenes, she was quietly undergoing preventative chemotherapy. Instead of retreating entirely from public life, Catherine chose to open up about her diagnosis. The way she shared her journey resonated with millions. People around the world flooded the palace with messages of support. Social media lit up with hashtags and tributes. For many, Catherine's announcement humanized her in a way no title ever could. In September, she shared that she had completed her treatment. It wasn't just an update, it was a moment of hope. And the public saw it for what it was, proof of her inner strength. Despite the physical and emotional toll, Catherine remained committed to her causes and continued to appear at selected events when she could. This period didn't weaken her image. If anything, it made her even more respected. It reminded people that behind the elegant dresses and royal titles was a woman facing a deeply personal battle with grace and grit. And in that moment, many stopped seeing her just as the Duchess of Cambridge and began seeing her as a future queen who had already passed one of the hardest tests life could throw at her. Through it all, one person stood firmly by her side, Prince William. But has the pressure brought them closer or created cracks? This year, Catherine and William celebrated their 14th wedding anniversary. 14 years filled with public expectations, private challenges, and now serious health concerns. But despite all of it, their recent appearances have told a clear story: unity. At recent royal events, the couple has been seen in coordinated outfits. Catherine wore a white polka dot dress by Alessandro Rich, the same one she wore on Garter Day back in 2023, along with earrings once worn by Princess Diana. These subtle choices don't go unnoticed. They're messages, signals of continuity, of shared legacy, and of standing strong together. During the Raft flypast at Buckingham Palace, the entire family appeared on the balcony. Little Prince Louis, as usual, stole the show with his playful antics, but something else stood out: Prince George taking on one of his biggest royal duties yet, joining his parents and grandparents for a tea party with veterans. William later shared that George has shown real interest in learning about history and service through all the pressures of royal life, and now the added strain of Catherine's illness. William and Catherine's bond seems to have deepened. There have been rumors in the past about the state of their marriage, but the recent appearances suggest a couple that leans on each other rather than drifts apart. Their relationship is more than just a romantic partnership, it's a stabilizing force for the monarchy. And with everything that's unfolded over the past year, that foundation may prove more important than ever. But what do you think? Are we ready to see her as queen? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more royal revelations every week.